amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of our guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there's Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, the Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Kira Lessin and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Together, we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Matrix of Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any feedback here? Okay, today, I'm your host, Jan Kier Lessin, with Dr. Sasha Lessin, and today we interview our very special guest, George Kavassilas. And George is an author, acclaimed speaker, and regular guest on the alternative radio circuit. George has had an extraordinary life with a multitude of interactions with interdimensional and extraterrestrial beings of both benevolent and malevolent intent from many different levels of realities, both on and off-world. In 2003, George took a journey with his consciousness and spirit through the dimensions of our universe and reintegrated with his soul. He discovered what life in this universe is all about and was able to once again remember who we all are, where we come from, what we are doing here, and where we are headed. George's knowledge and wisdom, values, and philosophy have helped thousands of people the world over to feel, be, and to live in a more peaceful, centered, and empowered state in a natural way. After a lifetime of strange and wonderful experiences beyond the ordinary, George went through a long period of contemplation and reconciliation regarding their value and worth. Having since cultivated knowledge and wisdom from his experiences, George came to realize his responsibilities and obligations to our humanity and to our planet. As a result, George now embodies a limitless passion to share such knowledge and wisdom with our global community. And his book is Our Universal Journey, and I'll have him tell you a little bit more about it. It's a fascinating book, and his website is ouruniversaljourney.com. Before we bring on George, what would you like to say to our listeners, Sasha?
Well, it's obvious to me that many of the people we interview have been selected as ambassadors, bridge people between other consciousnesses and ours. And that these precious contacts and the people that have volunteered to be these bridge people are really giving us a lot. And George is one of these people who's obviously an ambassador of higher consciousness, telling us about what we need to deal with in our development. So I'm eager to hear the show.
Welcome to the show, George.
Hello, Janet, and hello, Sasha. It's really an honor to be back on. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, we are so glad to have you back on. We had little glitches before we finally got you, but here we have you once again. You're very busy, traveling a lot.
I am. It's been a lot of fun. We've got lots of events happening here in Australia, and it's always fun to be out and about and meeting people. And doing live events, you really get to feel the energy in the room, and it's lots of fun. I really enjoy it.
I love it too. We just got back from Alien Cosmic Expo in Toronto, Canada. Boy, they rock up there. They really have their stuff together, and there's a lot of experiencers, contactees, investigators, whistleblowers. Can you tell us a little bit more what's happening in your part of the world, in Australia, and in that part?
Yeah, we just had our smaller version of the circus that you guys are about to go through in November. They're called federal elections, and we all know there's no such thing as democracy. Everyone's appointed. So, it's just a circus, and it's amazing how many people get sucked into that drama vortex. So that's what's been going on in Australia on the geopolitical level. Behind the scenes more on the interdimensional level, a lot of chess pieces are being manoeuvred here. So we're seeing a lot more of the competitive nature of the unsavory matrix system, which is trying to, subjugate our humanity. And we can really feel it. I think Australia is one of the leading models, if not the leading model, in the way the human race is apprehended and subjugated. Apathy is a massive issue here in Australia. And people, there is also the flip side to that of an incredible awakening happening in so many people in this country as well, because, we are in a universe of contrasting expressions. So whenever you have something of one expression, you're always going to have the other. And I just find it really fascinating at the kind of dance, you could say, or the conflict or the battle that's going on between these two energies of the birthing and the rising and the birthing of the new in this universe, which is, coming out from deep inside of people, which is just beautiful to see the way it's emerging. And this energy who's, totally frightened and insecure, and hasn't got anything on this new that is birthing inside of us. It's never seen it before, and neither have we. And it just doesn't know what to do with it. And it's terrified. So it keeps recycling all of its old ways. And there's a lot of us who are just, we see it for what it is. We understand, and, how we navigate our way through this imposition is really, really fascinating.
So do you have your own version of Trump down under?
We kind of did. Malcolm Turnbull was his name. Wasn't anywhere as extreme, but it is still a service, regardless. We just have a far more sedate version of it. You guys seem to have more glitz.
All of a sudden we lost you a little bit. Can you speak up into the mic a little bit more? And
yeah,
go ahead. Say
sure.
That again. You went way down in volume.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
You're saying about your trumpet.
Your trumpet there.
Yeah, we have our own version of Donald Trump. I think it was called Malcolm Turnbull in this election. But anyway, we seem to have a more sedate version of it. Yours seems to be a much grander circus in that regard. A lot more glitz and glamour, a lot more lights, a lot more fanfare. So from an outsider's view, looking at the US and what's going on there, it's really quite amazing that so many people could take that.
We're having a little problem with the Sean. Can you kind of fix things with George? We're having trouble hearing him, and I'm going to put my headphones on while you go ahead and keep talking, George. And Sean, I just want you to be aware that I don't know if you hear it on your end or if it's just us. Okay, hold on. Put our headphones. Okay, try that again. Oh, there. That's much better. Much better. Okay.
Is that better?
We can hear you. Hopefully, Much better. We hope the world can hear you, too.
Yeah, we hear about Australia is that there's this terrible thing with the people that are imprisoned because they're trying to escape and become immigrants to Australia, and I don't know, it really sounds awful.
It is Australia. Australia's got this two-way thing going on where our society seems to be not as militant as yours. The control system seems to be more sophisticated. The border patrol of Australia is incredibly strict. If, like the last time I flew to Hawaii and I flew back, they were spraying the inside of the plane, so it was full-on entrapment. You weren't.
They sprayed you.
Oh,
yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it was full entrapment. So there was no mention of it even before you get on the plane, that you're going to get sprayed at the other end. It's just incredible. So I find it disturbing that Australia is becoming the island fortress because of the major events that will be playing out globally. The majority of it seems to be in the Northern Hemisphere. So this, really ties into the energies that are facilitating that. It ties into the magnetic north. It ties into that part of the planet and what's going on with all the countries in the Northern Hemisphere. There's a massive shake-up going on. The Southern Hemisphere is a lot more peaceful in its expression, in its, I would say, ability for people to actually work and thrive. In the Northern Hemisphere, you've got the UK, you've got Europe, you've got Russia, you've got the Middle East, you've got China, you've got Japan, you've got the US, all the major drama issues and all the countries that are deeply involved in that drama all seem to be based in the Northern Hemisphere. I find that quite fascinating.
Yeah, isn't that? So what's going on from the ET perspective? Are you getting any communication, clarity from your contacts?
Yeah, especially because you were alluding to astronomical events that are affecting the geology and geography of the Earth. Mm-hmm. Could you elaborate a bit?
Sure. For me, the tussle that's going on behind the scenes with the military-industrial complex and the secret space program, I find that, intriguing. My being is involved in that process in the exopolitical and cosmopolitical arena. Last August, I was involved in a very, very interesting operation where we apprehended the leading spacecraft from the secret space program. Now, when I say I was involved, I'm talking about another aspect of my being. So, my Earth. This is gonna. I'm just gonna go into a little bit more of the detail of how our beings are structured. So, I'm gonna
okay.
how I've experienced it, and hopefully people will begin to grasp, why often we're having these incredible dreams or experiences at night, and then we wake up in the morning and we're very tired. It's because we're multidimensional beings and we're involved in many different layers of reality and aspects to this whole Earth project, or Project Earth, whatever you want to call it, that's going on, because it's certainly no experiment. It's very intended indeed in its outcome. So it's another aspect of my being that's involved in the galactic level of politics, which is more Syrian and flavour, Orion flavour and Pleiadian flavour in like an integrated aspect of all of those aspects of my being. And I'm involved with the galactic sort of council level of operations. I'm trying not to use too many labels, but then it's how do you put things in a context for people to grasp the context of what you're saying.
I'm just going to invite you to. I'm inviting you to lay it out there, because this story we're hearing from more and more people, including myself, the realization that we're multidimensional beings, simultaneous, having many experiences, and especially for myself at night, I work very hard. And when I wake up, it's like I was working last night and I'm working now. But it seems that I can handle it. But we're hearing this story from a lot of experiencers. So just go out there. This audience is a little bit more sophisticated than most, and I'm sure they can track you. And if not, we'll have them ask questions. But lay it out for us. This is great. I love it.
Okay. Well, let's take that adventure. So that part of my being that is involved in monitoring the development of the secret space program here on the planet, we warned them a long time ago. So I'm gonna be speaking from George and from that other. I'm going to be fluctuating because I'm multidimensional.
Okay.
So it's I'm going to be speaking from different perspectives as I move forward now in this explanation. Okay. So now I'm going to be sharing from the point of view of that part of my being. So we were warning the elders, your elders of the secret space program on this planet, not to, and people will think I'm channeling, but I'm not. It's my being, right?
Right.
We were warning them not to build that sort of technology. The reason they went ahead and built it was because they were under the influence of part of a galactic empire, which then goes beyond this galaxy. It's where we're getting into the cosmopolitical arena now. And this empire, which is imposing itself on Earth, has many sub-factional empires. And they wanted to really create, or one arm of this empire wants to create the human race to be very warlike, very, because we're really powerful beings. I mean, we're fractals of the universe, so we access more life force than any other race in the universe. We're at the forefront of the evolutionary process, chronologically speaking, in universal unfoldment. So because we're fractals of the universe, we are very powerful in anything we choose to do. Even though physically we are vulnerable because we have a very soft skin, our ability to work with energy, though, and our ability to be very creative and interface with technology is beyond any other race. And the beings, the factional empire faction that wants to turn us into warlike beings to fight their battles for them, which is really their agenda, are assimilating the military-industrial complex and the secret space program into their empire. And, we're doing a lot of deliberations behind the scenes as well to try and get the secret space program to realize who it is they're dealing with, who they're meddling with, and that these entities don't have their best interests at heart. That ultimately, what's important is for us to and now I'm coming back to the George level, for us to remember who we are, as a humanity. Yeah. Because when we remember who we are, then we can actually put back into perspective, we can see all the different empires and what their agendas are, and you can see who actually honours us for who and what we truly are, and who seeks to subjugate us, who seeks custodianship, you could say, in a negative way, under the guise of love and freedom. So there's this very clever trick that's being played onto our humanity, because we're being subjected to these cultural philosophies, ideologies, spiritual doctrines that are coming in from all these different angles. They have a similar theme to them because they're all coming from these different factions of this one giant multi-dimensional cosmic empire, you see. That's why the theme has a similarity to it, but there are subtle differences between them. However, the natural order of life, which is separate from that empire, and the God entity who heads that empire, who feels incredibly threatened by who and what we are, by the way, is really the natural order really honours who and what we are, holds us in great reverence, and is lovingly supporting us from afar because they can't get directly involved due to agreements and natural law. So last August, that was a big intro, but last August we were...
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Is that it?
We lost you.
Lost you. Can't hear you again. Try that. Don't know why.
So it sounds like the Dracos and their allies.
Yeah, I wanted to ask George, from your perspective, who these people are, but for some reason, speak again because I can't hear you again.
Okay, I'm here.
There
Can
it
you
is.
hear me?
Last August, yes, last August.
So last August we ended up apprehending the lead craft from the secret space program. Now, the first time I mentioned this publicly was in a recent interview with Alfred Lambermont Weber. And are we still here? Am I still on?
Yes. I just said I love Alfred. He's one of our dear friends.
Yeah, he's an amazing gentleman. I thoroughly loved and enjoyed that interview. And I kept it quiet. I wanted to see who was going to say what out there. And no one's come out with this. And because this is very embarrassing as well. And it's a big for the Empire. And it's massive questions are being raised now within the secret space program, the military industrial complex, as a result of what we did. So what we did was we went to the leading craft, the leading edge technology that they've got. We watched them build it. We warned them not to build it. They still went ahead and built it. Then we moved in interdimensionally. So we just interdimensionally appeared in their boardrooms with the elders. We told them what we were going to do. Then we just, bilocated because we can do all that on that level of life. We don't need technology to do anything. We just do it through our soul expression and via the medium of consciousness, which is mind energy, and interfacing with different realities. That's how we do that stuff. So we bilocated from, into the meeting rooms, met with the elders, informed them of our intentions as a result of their actions, which we warned them not to, and the violations of certain treaties and laws and what have you. Then we went into the craft, appeared in the craft, and we started dismantling this weaponry which had the ability to blow up entire planetary systems. So, we said to the elders, there is no way, there is absolutely no way that you are going to be allowed with your ambitions of conquering, your immaturity, your subjugation to this empire, there is no way we're going to allow you to have this type of technology and go marauding through the galaxy and interstellar travel with this level of technology. No way. So what we did was we didn't steal the craft from them. We dismantled the craft back into this yellow plasmic energy, which is what they use, and converted it back to that energy, then gave them the energy and said, you are not permitted to express that energy in this way. You can build other things with that energy, but you're not going to be permitted to express that energy in this manner. So that's how we went about it. And this has sent ripples through the empire. And, because now all of a sudden is well, where was the empire? Why couldn't they stop these beings from doing this?
So
See?
let me break this down. Yeah.
Because they created us to do it.
Well, yeah. They created you to do it.
Well, me and the whole team of
job.
me and the team of other beings who are involved in that operation.
Who are these people, these beings that are involved in this type of operation in the secret space program?
Okay, so are you referring from the group of beings that were with me or the ones that we were addressing?
I'd like to know about
I want to
both.
know the cast of characters in this play, so our listeners and
Is it the
ourselves.
Dracos and the breakaway civilization against the good guys on our
Yeah,
side?
tell us who the cast of characters are in this play that you're involved in this action.
Okay, I don't have full memory of it, but I will share what I do recall,
Okay, that's fine.
Because we are talking about interdimensional aspects of beingness, and when we come back into this reality, we're screened quite heavily, depending on what our being will allow us to remember. Now, in the military-industrial complex and the secret space program, what we're dealing with is, you know, a lot of people think it's just the reptilians or the Dracos. It's so much more than that. There are an arm of the Dracos who went around marauding all the supreme genetics of all the races in the galaxy, because they wanted to create the ultimate physical embodiment. So they went around just poaching genetics, and the most attractive, the most powerful, the most talented, you name it. And they blended all the genetics to create this supreme race. And they're like this Nordic-looking race, very angelic in their appearance. But they're as evil can be. And we've got to be careful that we don't judge a book by its cover, right? It always comes, any time you come across an entity, the first thing you do is you go for the source of the intention that emanates from that being. That's how you discern who and what it is you're dealing with. Because of what these beings do, they have this ability to put different layers of energy. So they wear these energetic masks, and you need to be able to cut through all that.
So how does one do that? For me, when I encounter an entity, I have a sense of their, what their intention is, right? I have a sense that they're dark or they're light or they're good or they're bad. I just have this instinct. But how can the average person discern what's going on when they meet these beings, when their appearance is one of, angels? Do you have any advice for
they have to
listeners?
question. They have to question. They don't just sit there and react to the surface emanation of energy that they're interacting with. So, whenever a being appears before me, the first thing I do is, okay, you are here. Why are you here? What is your interest in me? Why did I create this? Is another process I go through, because everything we experience is a co-creation. So we've got to own the responsibility of the experience in that moment. So the first thing I also do is address my greater being, is saying, why am I having this experience? Why did I create this? What do I have to learn from this? And what's this about? And what's your source intention? So, you really start digging deeper into the layers, because you're questioning the co-created experience. So what you're doing is you're cutting through the shallow superficial layers, and you're getting into the deeper layers of that reality and that co-created experience in that moment in time, in space-time. So that's how I do it.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's good information, because most people aren't going to know how to tell one from the other. But so if you're clear and your soul is more aligned with goodness and love and light, will you have less of a chance of attracting that type of energy into you, or does it come in because you are aligned with love and light, and it's the polar opposite trying to test you, or whatever?
Well, there's different versions of love and light. So there's the God entity, who's the a Lord of Light, and he's and it's a he/she. It is the ruler of a love and a light energy, which is a synthetic version of the natural order of love and light in the universe. So just because an entity turns up looking all loving, lovey-dovey, and emanating this gorgeous light, doesn't mean it is of love and light. It's there's different versions of it in our universe, so we've got to be very careful and not be naive about it. So I'm a lot of people find my energy a little bit abrasive, because I cut through all the New Age religion and the deception of it, because it's full of the synthetic love and light spiritual principles. And this isn't a small thing. The love and light in the synthetic realm is really vast. It's a massive. It's part of this multi-dimensional empire. It's built on it. So all the beings who are in service to the light of God, are all part of this false light matrix. So we're talking all the, archangels, we're talking all the ascended masters, we're talking, the whole gamut of this whole false light matrix system. And it's multidimensional, it's very vast, and it's assimilated masses of empires into its infrastructure. So it's massive, and it's not to be taken lightly. Yeah. And, it freaks people out to hear that because, we're investing so much of our we've broken out of the conventional religious structures on our planet, and then people are moving over to the Galactic Federation of Light and Ascended Masters and Angels, and everything's love and light and everything's beautiful. But how many people are actually questioning that infrastructure? And not to the point of paranoia, it's genuine inquiry. You've got to be a skeptic about this. Otherwise, you're just going to be...
Borged? Are we being Borged?
Yes.
Like a Star Trek Borg, where we being
Absolutely.
Borged. Yeah.
This is collectivism. This is all about collective hive minds, and people are meditating. They're bringing light energy in instead of turning inside out. They bring it in from outside of themselves, down through the crown chakra, and they're drug taking. They're consuming all these light energies that are blissing them out. And this is interdimensional drug taking. That's the reality of it. It's harsh languaging for people. They go, oh, this is ridiculous. It's a disinformation agent. And there's all these reactions that go on because they want to defend their belief system. They want to defend their new religion. And I get this all the time. I mean, I track through this. I navigate my way through this landscape all the time. And it's just one religious fanatic after another. And what people are doing is they're just swapping one religion for another. They don't realise that they've done that, and people have invested themselves in it. I used to be in that. I used to be a New Age healer. I used to do, Reiki. I used to do all that stuff. Chakras, Kundalini, pineal gland. I was right into the whole gamut of that whole paradigm. But how many people are actually questioning it? How many people are questioning that Hermes Trismegistus was the incarnation of the planet Mercury? How many people realise that? And why is Mercury and Venus between the Sun and the Earth, who are, twins of one another? And why are these energies between the two? And why is mind control, which is the Mercury energy, teaming up with the Moon and with Saturn? And then we have the desire, which is the other energy, which are the two energies controlling the human race. How many people question Mercury and Venus for their negative attributes, not just their positive attributes? We're in a universe of contrasting expressions. So what we need to do is be realistic about the whole cosmic environment we find ourselves in, and not just keep regurgitating doctrine that we read. So what we need to do is we need to get into our personal relationship. So what's your individual personal relationship with Mother Earth? What's your personal relationship with the Moon? What's your personal relationship with Venus, with Mars, with Jupiter, with Saturn, with Mercury, with the Sun, with a galactic being, with a universal being? These are individual personal relationships with each of these entities, and we need to understand them. We need to re-explore those relationships, because it's in those relationships is the knowledge of your existence in these realities. That's where it resides. And stop giving our power away to all this doctrine that's outside of ourselves.
Wow. Well, that we'll have to break down. Sasha had a question. You still have a question?
Well, it's more of an observation. The implications of some of the things that you've said, like that we have this fractile that makes us so powerful and have so much, each individual have so much light to contribute, that in Vini Yoga, the kind of yoga I do, not only do we take energy in from the cosmos and bring it through our body to the center of the earth, but then we do pelvis hold, belly hold, and throat hold, and give earth energy back to the cosmos, so that we become a bridge, and we can embrace, as we center ourselves, both the universal and the individual, the earth and the cosmic energy. That's the way I look at things. And so it seems to me that we're special, and we're part of a bigger plan, both.
Aren't we at the
Both
highest
at
level
the same
in
time.
planet form? Aren't we in the highest level in a planet form and a solar system form? And isn't that part of our, journey through the universe? Is that we experience existence in all forms?
Yeah, we are. We're incarnate as planets, as stars, as galactic systems. This whole universe is a co-creative process. This is what I love about the natural creator, because, we are dealing with two different entities. We've got the natural creator of this universe, and then we have the God of religions. So we've got two very distinct energies and entities that we're actually dealing with. And that is the big realization right there, because one of them says you're infinite and the other one says you're finite. Now, I'm infinite. I know I'm infinite. Yeah. And the other one is the finite concept, where this God entity is the creator of all that is and all that exists. That's its outlandish claims. The reality is the natural order of this universe. You've got the natural creator, who's, when you consciously reintegrate with that relationship, then, it's completely on the level. You respect that you're inside the universal creation of another being, sure. And you understand that your relationship with that is a co-creative process in your journey through this universe. But the natural creator doesn't see itself as superior to you. It's a very loving, honest, and peer relationship, because beyond, its universal creation, it is inside of you, because you've got your own universal creation in the omniverse, right? So the being who is the creator of this universe is also inside of your universal creation in another universe.
Right. So the hierarchy itself is dichotomous, because there is no hierarchy.
There is no hierarchy
superior.
because life is infinite. See, so beyond these levels of universal creations, life is infinite. So there's no beginning or end. There's no beginning to me, to my beingness, right? And there's no end to my beingness. I've never been created. I've always existed. I always have been, and I always will be. And once we realize that there is no totality, that life is truly infinite, and there's no one anything out there. There is no one anything, because there's no totality. So you can't apply the label of one. It's completely infinite, open-ended, no beginning or end. And when you realize that, reawaken to that truth, because that is the real truth of life, then all of a sudden this God program and this God matrix becomes very apparent. Incredibly apparent, and the awakening that occurs from that is like, so here you have, on the other hand, you have this entity that is claiming to be your maker, and it's claiming to be the creator of all that is and all that exists. This one energy, and because it's pure mind energy, it's pure consciousness. This entity. That's why the pursuit of consciousness is all the rage on the planet at the moment. It's all about indoctrination into its, pseudo-universal paradigm. So we're dealing with a very sophisticated being. We're dealing with programs of limitation that are being imposed on humanity, that have been developed through eras, epochs, and eons of evolution in this universe. It's no small fry we're dealing with.
But this little creator God must be a fractile of the creator of all, too, or also must be part of the larger plan. Or do you think
absolutely
that's
is when you actually experience your beingness outside of the grand cosmic arena in all its multi-dimensions, the being that is playing the role as this God entity, we're completely in unconditional love together. But in the arena, everyone's role playing, yeah? And because this is a universe of contrasting expressions, if you have a being who is the creator of this universe, you must have a being who's not of this universe claiming to be the creator. Because this universe is a universe of contrasting expression, so the alter ego of everything exists here. This is what we're dealing with, including our internal reality.
You only get a dimension when you have poles.
Yes.
Say that again, honey?
You only get a dimension when you have polarity.
Polarity, right.
Yeah.
So we're in this universe of contrasting expression. I read an article one time that they called this little subsector of the, the totality of existence, the Ogu, the one God universe.
Oh, yeah.
And the way they expressed it was there was this, this being that decided to make a little, like a virtual reality game, and he started playing it over in one corner of the universe, and all the other beings said, wow, that looks like fun. Can I come down in there too and play too? And soon he had, all this whole big section of creation down there playing this little game, and then they don't remember that they're in a game. They're in this subsector. Anyway, it's a brilliant article.
It was Burroughs, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. So I'm kind of, when you're saying this, I'm remembering that article. It's everybody's going to symbol this differently, but so there is this little subsector of what's going on, and then there's, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So I wanted to ask you about Hermes. Was he Nagashita Thoth as well when he was here as an Anunnaki? And he's also Mercury and Venus, or he's
in Cuckoo Clan and Quetzalcoatl.
Was that the same being?
Quetzalcoatl for me was an incarnation of the sun. Though I don't want people to. It's easy to mix up this serpent energy because you've got the rainbow serpent law, LIRE law, which for me is natural law, and it's different. The organic version of that, the natural version of that, is different to what's being disseminated these days. I'll give you an example. The Grand Cosmic Arena is the alter ego, the energy that facilitates the Grand Cosmic Arena into being is the alter ego of the universal creator itself. So we've got what's called the Great Void between the Grand Cosmic Arena and the rest of the universe. And when I say the Grand Cosmic Arena, the entire multiverse that quantum physics talks about, so all the other light-based universes are inside the Grand Cosmic Arena. Countless.
Yes.
So I just want
the
people
cosmic void,
I just want people to try and grasp the magnitude of what it is I'm talking about here. It's really big. Yeah, this universe itself is colossal in nature. So when you have the Grand Cosmic Arena in all its dimensional levels, and inside of that you also have all the countless parallel universes, other light-based universes that quantum physics talks about. That's what I'm talking about when I say the Grand Cosmic Arena. So it's big, right? Really big. And then you have this massive great void, and then you enter into these other realms within this light-based universe, where everything is totally harmonious. There's no such thing as technology. There's no such thing as healers. It's a completely different state of being. And then you have beyond this universe, of course, into the omniverse and into the infinite nature of life. So that's the basic structure. So the energy that facilitates the Grand Cosmic Arena in this universe is an alter ego of that more harmonious expression for the other realms within this universe. And that is known in law, LIRE law, as the Great Dragon or the Great Serpent, not in an evil context. Yeah? We're just talking about an expression of the universal creator that is facilitating the manifestation into form, a specific type of form, all these multi-dimensions of realities and multiverses.
It's a perturber.
Yeah, it's like a massive playground, but there needs to be an energy that facilitates all that into existence. It needs a prime creative energy for it to exist. And so that expression of that energy is what is commonly known as the rainbow serpent or the great dragon energy. And the reason it's so prevalent here in this world is because we are a fractal of the universe in one location. And so that energy is very prevalent here because in the evolutionary process of the grand cosmic arena, the most complex life forms that we were incarnating into in the early days were the insect form with a hard exoskeletal, because the environment was so harsh. And then from there we went into the next evolutionary step along with the draconian races. So even though we had an internal skeletal structure, we still had very hard, scaly sort of, texture to our bodies because they were, it was still quite a harsh environment. And then from there was the reptilian races. And then after the reptilian races spawned out, into the raptors, into the aquatics, and into the mammalian races. And then all the way it goes along till it gets to the cetaceans. And then after the cetaceans come the humans. So we're the furthest along in chronological order. And so there is somewhat a truth to what science has to offer. They haven't got it totally wrong. So we've just got to be, need to acknowledge where they're right in areas. And so when we understand that process, that the Dracos, the dragon energy, they're the ones who, in the early days, mastered physicality. So even though the insect races were their ancestors, their predecessors, the Dracos are the ones who really, truly, truly mastered physicality, and hence the name of that energy that facilitates the grand cosmic arena into being is known as the great dragon energy. Very powerful energy. It's very wise. It is an aspect of the creator that holds that space. When you tap into that, you're tapping into the prime creative force of the entire grand cosmic arena.
So is there, the dragon, are there beings that have truly manifested in a dragon form? It's not just mythology, it's something that really...
Oh, yeah, they truly exist.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean...
That's cool, because I met one once.
Say that again.
No, they
I
truly
said that's
exist.
really cool because I was taken to meet the dragon. That's one of the dragons that's down in the kind of like Middle Earth or Inner Earth. And I was on Johnson Atoll in 1997. Anyway, too much detail, but I always wondered, like, was that real or some kind of whatever? And it's and that's what I got, that the original dragon energy was the one of the first forms. So you're saying that was the first form that mastered.
Did you touch her, Janet? Were you able to touch the dragon?
Oh, I don't remember. I think we just touched energy. We merged energies. Yeah, but back to you, George. So anyway, thank you for that validation of a personal experience.
That's fine. That's great news. And for Mother Earth, the divine feminine, to have manifested herself as this planet, because it's kind of like the other question is who are we incarnate upon? And a lot of people experience this planet as a feminine being. I do. And then the question is, okay, so but who is she? And it's for me, the experience I have with it is with her is that she's the feminine expression of the universal creator directly incarnating as a planetary being. And for her to be able to have done that and hold the space of a fractal of the universe in physical form, what she did was she teamed up with what's known as the blue dragon energy. So when we get into the deeper layers of prime creative intelligence in this reality, you end up integrating with the blue dragon consciousness and the blue dragon spirit and blue dragon soul energy. It's really quite amazing, really, when one does that. But you got to get past there's all these other false sort of dragon identities that you need to get through, because there's good dragons and there's not so good dragons as well. So again, it comes down to discernment.
Wow. So, what's your question?
Well, just St. George didn't like dragons.
St. George still the
St.
dragon,
George, yeah. Well, there are some unsavory dragon cousins that I still don't like. And, when sometimes action needs to be taken with these beings, the one thing you'll come to realise in this journey is there are some intelligences that there is just absolutely no reasoning with. You can't reason with it, no matter how hard you try. And I know we all love that, love conquers all. But love conquers all, there's a time factor to that. If you're confronted with a being and they're at a certain point in their journey through this universe, it doesn't matter what you do, you are not going to change where that being is at.
They'll just eat you or blast you into smithereens.
Yeah.
I had a whistleblower say, and he's now deceased, but he was saying that the reason why they want us, this is the story they're telling him, I guess, they want some humans to be the warrior race is because those beings exist, and they won't think twice to blast away the planet and to just destroy everything in their way. And so, is that true at all?
Well, you saved us from this kind of equipment.
Right. Well, you did that.
Yeah.
He was saying that's why he was doing it as well.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's that level of functionality. I'll give you another example. I had these two entities that came and manifested in my house out of thin air. They just manifested into the room while I was working here at my desk. And it was in another house, but I was at my desk. And the first thing I did was I said to them, show me something new, because they were there to intimidate me. They were some two very heavy-duty entities. And I said, show them, and instantly Big George, became present. So because I'm integrated with my multidimensionality, my greater being, more of me comes in whenever it's required. And that's why I'm still here doing what I'm doing. So then I said to those beings, show me something new. And they just looked at me all curious, because they were expecting me to be reacting with fear and to feel intimidated. And then they sort of really increased their intensity of intimidation. So I increased my energy and I said, show me something new. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, I have been what you have been, what you are, and I've been a lot worse than what you are. So there's nothing new going on here for me, because I already am you, and I'm a whole lot worse than what you are. Meaning, in that moment, I was completely embracing my shadow side and those aspects of my being that have incarnated into those sorts of worlds, and including theirs, chronologically speaking, in the past. And so they didn't want to believe me. So what I did was I merged with that aspect of my being, merged into their reality, then expressed myself inside of their being. And I held my hand out and I said, I'm holding your life right now in the palm of my hand. Can you feel me inside of you? Yeah. And they completely freaked out and disappeared, because the one thing control freaks cannot stand is when you expose their vulnerabilities, right? So we need to understand that there's more than one way of dealing with these energies. And the ultimate way in my book, in my understanding of life, is when you embrace all that you have seen, all that you have done, and all that you have been in your journey through this universe, then you are able to manage how you deal with these energies. Because I'm embracing all of my light and all of my shadow. I'm not leaving any aspects of my being out. I'm loving all of me. And through that process, I'm able to integrate with all of life in this universe, no matter what it is. The most beautiful and loving aspect of life, and the most disgusting and putrid and awful expressions of life. All of it. And that's true oneness. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Not this selective oneness, right? Where people go into these blissful collective hive mind realities, right? It's either you're truly one.
everything in the human condition is there in each of us.
Yeah. Either you're truly one with all of life, or you're going to be part of this self-righteous movement, which is very selective about what it chooses to be one with. So we need to embrace all of that. And by embracing all of that, we can navigate through those energies, through those realities once again, like we once did, because we're kind of at the end of our journey through this grand cosmic arena. Those who understand that part of their journey. And, we've seen it all, we've done it all, we've been it all, and so there's nothing to fear. And it's us, it's another expression of what we have been. So you integrate with that and then work from inside that reality and deal with it that way.
So the Draco in each of us then is just excessive pride and competition. That's what it is. They think they're better than everybody else, and that every life isn't worth just as much.
That is one group of Dracos that think that. There are other Dracos that are very proud warrior beings and are very wise indeed and honour the human race incredibly. So we've got to be careful not to be racist here. There's, there's a tendency towards that, this race is like this only. That's not true. There's really what we would consider very ugly looking races, right? that are truly benevolent in their nature. And then there's other races that we would consider totally beautiful and radiating this beautiful light energy and smothering you with all this love energy that are as evil as evil can be.
But I'm alluding to the Draco Confederation that you said threatens this part of the galaxy. Like that's an institution rather than individual beings.
I totally agree with you.
1 minute. We have 1 minute before the break, so this is fascinating, and so we're going to be coming up on a break. What would you like to... Well, we'll just pick up where we left off here on the second hour, and anyway, this is absolutely fascinating. There's our music. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Tune in Tuesdays at 12 noon Eastern on Studio A to hear Tammy Adams share her knowledge of an unknown realm on Talking with Your Angels. Join Tammy as she uncovers hidden secrets about the spiritual world of angels, ghosts, and other entities that have been with us longer than we know. Tammy is a psychic, a teacher, spiritual coach, a leader in her field, and will be sharing her information and stories with you. So join us on Tuesdays at noon on Studio A. With Tammy's guidance, you'll find out who has been watching over you from the other side, and soon you will be talking with your angels.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And I'm your host, Janet Kira Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lessin, and we are interviewing George Kavassilas on the Sacred Matrix. Before we get back to our second hour, I'd like to remind everybody to please go over to that donation button on freedomslips.com and make your donation. $1, $10, $15, $20, $100, whatever you can afford is greatly appreciated, and we do thank you very much for your donation. George, welcome back. Sasha's in the other room. He'll be right back getting a cup of coffee. So we were talking about all the way up to the grand design of the cosmos. I wanted to bring it back to perhaps more of this solar system or this part of the galaxy or this part of the universe to make sense for our listeners. How can they work their way through all this? How can they empower themselves? How can they become conscious and aware of all these things we're discussing on a more personal level? And Sasha, do you want to say before George comes back? No. Okay. Take it away, George. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Before I go into answering that, can I just clarify my website?
Please do that.
Yeah, my website is www.iaminfinite.love.
Okay. I'll add that to my page I have for you on KoreanRadio.com. iaminfinite.love. I am infinite.com, right?
.love. L-O-V-E.
.love. Oh, they have love now. Okay, .love.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because when
I
L-U-V-E or L-O-V-E was the one that I got.
Okay.
Yep. When I was out there integrated with my infinite nature, there was some themes out there in the infinite nature of life which are very similar to here. And, it's a very beautiful, cohesive, harmonious coexistence out there, all our infinite natures together. That energy that we call love, it's like that glue that just binds life in a harmonious way. That was there. That was running through all the dimensions of this universe, throughout the omniverse and throughout the infinite nature of life. So that's why I chose I'm Infinite.love. There was another energy there, though, which I found very, very interesting, and that was the sense of adventure. That was really prevalent. And I really loved that because, that childlike innocence and sense of adventure of wanting to create realities and go in them and have fun and explore them, that's what we do. That's our
It's like
main...
Leela, divine play, Leela.
Right.
Yeah, really, it's such a beautiful energy. That was really strong. I just wanted to share that. When it comes to having a deeper connection to ourselves and to our reality, the one thing that I found really important is our relationship to our reality. It's kind of like I released a quote recently. See if I can get it off the top of my head. The relationship with the reality we exist in is the key to understanding, to accessing the knowledge as to why it is we exist in that reality. So when we realize that everything in this universe is a relationship, because it's all harmonics, it's all resonance, it's all energy, waveform energy, is what we label it. When we understand that that all just equates down to relationship, then when we go into this unified field of love we have with Mother Earth, because it's like I posed that question to everybody earlier. I said, who is it we're incarnated upon? Who's she? Right?
Right.
So I do think we need to revisit that relationship, because here's the kicker, and here's an absolute truth, right? And I'm going to call it an absolute truth, which I know people shouldn't do, but I am in this case.
Okay.
Your relationship with your mother planet is the reason you exist here. That relationship is why you exist here in human form. Without that relationship, you do not exist here. So each one of us is in a deep and intimate relationship with this planetary being. So this is your very basic, immediate cosmic environment. And if we don't have a conscious awareness of that relationship, it's like you don't even know what street you live in, what house number you live in. You don't know anything about your reality. And when you go into that relationship, there's a unified field of love. There's also this agreement in universal law, natural law, LORE law, not LAW. LAW is the synthetic thing from the God entity, right? Imposing itself over the natural order. Natural law, where everything is based on co-created agreements. So your existence here is a co-creation primarily at the most primal level between you and this planetary being. And then the deeper level beneath that is you and the solar being. And then the deeper level is you and the galactic being, and then you and the universal being. So when you understand these...
Does it go two ways, that Earth exists because you're here, and Earth exists in relationship to you, just as you exist in relationship to it? You co-create
on a personal level. Like if you weren't here, this reality would continue to exist.
So what's going on with the disconnect from Mother Earth, that people are doing such atrocities to their home?
Yeah. Okay. So the imposition of artificial intelligence right now on the planet is a scalpel that is being used to sever humanity from their planetary mother. Because what we are universal embryos in the planetary womb of the Divine Mother. We are birthing what we are as a fractal of the universe, where each individual, what we are is a sum total of everything that we have seen, done, and been in this universe. So you are the sum total of your universal existence. Everything that you are in this universe, all your expressions as a galactic being, it could be more than one, as star beings, and that'll be countless, as planetary beings, as all the flora, all the fauna, all the mineral kingdom, all the aquatic kingdom, everything that all the stardust that you're expressing yourself as and experiencing yourself as in this universe, everything, all your incarnational species that you're expressing yourself as right now, parallel, all of that is streaming into this one human form as a massive process of integration. That's what the fractality is all about. It's all about integration into a unified expression. Because in our journey through this universe, we have fragmented our beingness into a multitude of expressions. But we want to bring that back into a unified form. And even though it stems out of the soul, what I call the soul, which is the grandest aspect of self in this universe. And from soul is projected consciousness, which is mind energy, and is projected spirit, which is a light-based energy, which is formless, and you move around, towards other realities, and then project incarnational forms into those realities from spirit. Then what we're doing is we're integrating this beautiful unified aspect of self, is birthing. It's never been seen before, and it's like the meeting place. It's like we've projected outwards from that aspect where we are one with the natural creator of this universe, incarnated into multiple realities, exhausted all possibilities and outcomes in every expression of light there is to experience, and now we're bringing it all back home, and Earth is the meeting place. This is where what I call the traveling spirit that's traveled throughout this universe, projecting into all these realities and having incarnations, is finally coming home to the soul. It's a beautiful meeting place, and it's inside of ourselves.
Is there a reason why it's happening now? Like people are saying that we're aligned with the galactic core, and we're at the end of the yugas or the Kali yugas or whatever, or at the end of the cycles within cycles.
Yeah, they are, it's all cycles within cycles, okay? So it's kind of like this synchronistic, dare I say, clockwork where everything is coming into reaching a point of critical mass. Because time, by definition, is the duration of a creation. It is the life cycle of a manifested reality. So it's all cycles within cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a critical mass that's occurring very soon. And that's why we have this God entity that's imposing itself here, throwing everything at the human race. It's coming at us with all its fancy spiritual doctrine, through the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the foods that we eat, through all the energetic patterns, through all the mind control, genetic manipulation. It's unbelievable. It's coming at us from every possible conceivable angle, because it's a two-way thing. Well, it's more than a two-way thing, but there's two main aspects to this. This human form needed to be tested for all it's worth, to make sure that it actually, is going to stand the test of time. So we're being tested for all we're worth, to make sure that we can actually properly integrate. So all the beings who are going to integrate beyond all this imposition are the ones that truly have achieved it. And then there's all these other beings who are just going to fall for either one program or allurement of entrapment or another, and they're the beings that are quite ready to complete the process, and they're going to be recycled back into the grand cosmic arena. And they're all the beings who are falling for things like, worshipping deities outside of themselves. They wanting their DNA strands reactivated, for example, and that's just going back to what we once were in the grand cosmic arena. So I don't want to do that. I'm done with that. But, wherever you want to go is up to you. I'm not saying anybody has to go where I'm going. I just understand that I'm going beyond DNA. I call the DNA the God program, because it's all part of that God matrix construct. The mitochondria for me is where it's at. That's where in form, physical form, the blueprint of my expression of my being emanates from. For me, the DNA is part of the control system. So I'm not a big fan of the DNA.
Oh, that makes sense. It makes total sense. Yeah. So you're going past DNA. What lies beyond?
Is this integrated expression of self. So even though I talked about my galactic expression earlier, and an aspect of me incarnated in the Sirius system, there's a part of me incarnated in the Pleiadian system, for example. All the energy of all those incarnations, all those aspects of being, are all feeding into this human form, and I'm birthing a new expression in this universe, which is a fully integrated form of everything that has come before, of my beingness in this universe.
What you're talking about kind of reminds me of that movie Lucy, where all of a sudden I don't know if you saw Lucy, it was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
But she went beyond all this to this integrated expression of self. So.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That was more of an intellect, mind-based version of what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What I'm talking about is a fully integrated expression of self in this universe. So it's coming back to that place, because having gone through all these experiences of incarnations and expressions and manifestations of our beingness in all the kingdoms, in all the different vibrational fields of realities, and truly exhausting all possibilities and outcomes in every expression of every reality, we've gained a lot of wisdom along the way. That's what it's all about. The wisdom is what is the food that nourishes the soul. That's why it seeks out experiences. And once the wisdom has been attained, then the experience that was had is no longer necessary, and the expression of self in that reality is withdrawn, and then you go on to the next one. So what we're achieving in this universe is a new unified expression of self of all that has come before. And in that process, simultaneously what happens is you reconnect with the aspect of you that is completely one with this entire universe, and you embody that and express that. And you also connect past the soul, which is the part of you that is one. It's the label I use for the aspect of me that's one with the natural creator, back through to your infinite nature of life. So you have this incredible consciously aware state of being where you experience your infinite nature of beingness where you're completely sovereign and divine and untouchable, to that point of that aspect of self in the universe, where you're merged and you're in this co-creative process as one with the creator of this universe. And then all these different layers and expressions of self in this universe and your unified expression. So imagine all of that happening simultaneously at the same time. And that's what I've been starting to experience myself.
Wow. So how do you do normal life when you're? It's like you're walking in.
It's like you're on a great acid trip.
Yeah, it's like you're on a continual great acid trip. You're connected to source, and
it's been really challenging.
Drive a car?
It's been really, really challenging to hold on to, like in my presentations, I say that my immortal self is demanding my immortality. My eternal self is now demanding my eternity, and my infinite self is now demanding my infinity. And it is those they're demanding. This is our beings. This is our greater beings demanding this of us now, and we need to allow our multidimensionality and our infinite nature to come forth into this incarnation. That's what we need to do. And because that is how we will have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. I know you've heard that before. I don't mean to get all biblical about this. But it truly means that you will have this incredible ability to sniff bullshit like never before. You will see the programs of imposition in the most sophisticated, most delicate, most incredible, sugar-coated ways that are being presented to all these people around you. You will just see it, and you will be, pointed out to be the baddie because you're seeing through all the layers of all their crap that all these people around you are investing themselves into. And that's, that comes with the territory of being truly sovereign and just seeing through all the layers of all the imposition, deceiving the human race. And it's time that more of us embody our infinite nature. I can't tell you how good it feels to be truly me and to be truly one with this incredible woman we call Mother Earth. When you walk this earth in that conscious, loving relationship with her and with the sun, because we're incarnate inside the soul or body of the being who is the sun and the galaxy and the universal creator. To be consciously aware and walking this earth, living in that all the time, it's a very beautiful feeling.
What made you consciously aware of all this stuff, that all this was going on?
Yeah, that's a big question. For me, I tried getting into things, but the way it worked out for me was the way my being just naturally unfolded in this reality. So I kind of had to walk away from everything I was involved in and go into that place of just trusting and believing in my being. And of course, I was having all these incredible experiences, which from the ego, earthly personality interface we call ego, as George, I didn't will it on. I didn't will my experiences on from that aspect of my being. They just happened. So there was another aspect of self that was orchestrating that, because you come to realize that, me as George, I'm not actually the creator of this life I'm having. I'm not the prime creator of it. George didn't make the decision to incarnate. George is the incarnation. Yeah? There's another aspect of my being that made that decision that's not from here, right? Beyond what we call the veil, right? So there's another aspect of me from beyond the veil that made the decision to come and have an earthly incarnation and to participate in this co-creative process here on Earth. Because, there's reasons for that. So when we realize that hang on, George is not the composer or the conductor or the orchestrator of this life I'm having. George is the character in the play, right? What I've done is I've surrendered control of this life to that aspect of me, that greater aspect of my beingness, that is that part of me that is the original prime creator of this life that I'm having. So therefore, I'm now, what happens is my ego construct doesn't try to control. It is actually absorbed and sort of integrated with my greater being, and I'm just in this flow where things just flow from inside of me out into this reality. So it's like you become like this fountain, and you just turn inside out, and you live in this beautiful flow, because that other aspect of my beingness is truly in oneness, the true oneness, and in sync with Mother Earth, and how she wants to unfold as a planetary woman, and what her ideas and plans are as a planetary being and for humanity, because that part of my being is also in true integrated conscious oneness with the human organism as a whole, our collective group soul essence as a humanity. So when we can release and, control of the life we're having, we've got to let go of what's going on in our head, because that's where all the external controls and influences enter from, and you allow yourself to go beyond the mind into your beingness, then you're in this beautiful synchronistic flow, and your life completely changes, and your experience completely changes in this reality. But people don't like change. But that's the ego trying to hold on, because, it's got insecurity issues. It likes to know what's going on. And when you let go and you allow your being to unfold, well, you're in this flow, and some life, you get back into the mystery. You don't know what's going to happen. You kind of start to after a while, because the intuitive nature really starts to kick in, and you do get a feel for where you're headed. However, but initially, you've got to really embrace the fun and the mystery, and just let the ego just lose control. And it's a difficult thing for people to do.
So is Earth okay with what's going on? If she's accessing reality from that level rather than this kind of level that we see as, pollution and war?
Yeah, Mother Earth is a multi-dimensional being, and we're experiencing just one small expression of who and what she is. That's a really big thing to get a grasp on, yeah? And then you've got to ask yourself, well, what is this expression of her? This layer, this slither of reality we're experiencing here. What is this expression of her? And this is her distorted ego as a planetary being, because everything kills everything in order to survive. This is completely consumeristic. It's not just us who are consumers. The whole natural environment is completely consumeristic. So Mother Earth has set up an ecosystem that supports our consumerism. It's a perfect match, the environment.
Right.
So, yeah. So when we start tuning into Mother Earth, and we realize that she has planets have egos, right? Just like humans have egos, just everything has egos. Gods have egos, otherwise they wouldn't feed off the worship of humanity, right? So there's distorted egos in so many layers and levels of this universe. It's unbelievable. So Mother Earth, in her greater aspects, when you connect with her heart, I urge people to connect to her multidimensional heart. And that way you experience, I'm going to use a label now, you move beyond the Lady Gaia personality, which is her distorted ego as a planetary woman, and you go into the Christ Sophia heart soul essence of her, where she is this incredible, graceful woman, and unbelievable. Just, it's so hard to put into words. And she's like, oh, I got this. I'm good, no problem. She knows exactly who's who, what's what, where it's at, and when she needs to, she's going to make her move.
So let me understand this. Consumerism, then, if she had was engaging in out of control consumerism, underneath consumerism itself, all the suffering that's involved in that, there must be a need that's harmonious with her ecology. What need would Mother Earth have to create this eat others environment? What would that serve?
Yeah, the need is for us to have an environment where we can incarnate into and process all of our distortions in a microcosm. and become self-aware of these distortions.
So it's the very suffering of the consumerism that we contemplate, and that's what allows us to transcend it.
Yes.
Got it.
Wow.
And she's holding that space, and that part of her that's holding that space, that aspect of her, is it's like the story of Sleeping Beauty. You know, she's lost, she's in incredible pain, she's suffering greatly. That part of her, but it's only a part of her, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's being violated, so she's being raped every day, every moment of every day, and tortured. So she's sacrificing a lot for us in the most incredible way. When I really connected with her pain body, I went into the fetal position on the ground, and I literally had this foam coming out of my mouth. The pain was so great. And I nearly died. My greater being stepped in and said, you know, this has to stop or you're literally going to die. So because I was integrating with her, and I felt her pain, and that changed my perspective on what's going on here forever, because I really realised what she's going through on a moment-to-moment basis. And, you know, us men really need to understand that every woman embodies that to a degree, one degree or another, and that our experience of this reality is so far removed from the way woman experiences this reality. That's a fact. And I think the sooner us men come to terms with that, then things are going to change very rapidly indeed.
So you're awake. How do we awaken? I guess we don't have to. Huh? Is it just going to happen? I'm grasping for something to how to.
It's your mind. Your mind is grasping for the how.
My mind is going. There's like because I see this on one level, and the other part, the human part of me, is going. You know, it seems like we're in this game. We're running out of time. You know. We have these games within games, and I judge it. I say, "Oh, this is hideous. Please end it." I've gone to a council of 100,000 beings, and I just said, "Please, some kind of intervention, perturbation, something," because I feel I identify with Mother Earth, and I feel her pain, and it feels personal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted all this suffering to have ended yesterday. Mm-hmm. I really do. The reality is there's requirements by many different beings to do with soul growth and experiences that are still needed to be had by so many because that's what they want. And this is really hard for the self-righteous mind and the logic mind to grasp. But I personally have been raped and tortured in this life. So I know about suffering. And what I came to realize was that I created that. And that's when I healed it. When I realized that I orchestrated, I contracted those beings to do what they did to me from another level of reality. And my hate for them disappeared, and it turned into gratitude. And what I did was then go into a space of cultivating the wisdom from my experiences. And that's how I was able to heal. The self-righteous mind doesn't know how to do that. The self-righteous mind will stay in a state of that I can't accept that. That makes no sense at all. Why would anyone want to suffer at all at any stage about anything? You know, suffering comes in so many different forms. If you go for a run, okay, and you want to start getting fitter, you want to develop your muscles to be fit, because you want to be able to run a marathon, for example. You want to participate in a marathon run that's coming up. You're going to suffer because you've got to push your body past its limits, right? You've got to find out where the limits are.
No gain.
Right?
Right.
So we're doing it in so many ways all the time. And there is extreme versions of that and expressions of that, yes, which I co-created in this life. Mother Earth is allowing this to happen. She's co-creating it. The universal creator is in on it. And it's contracted this other entity called God that's in on it as well, who's really the brains trust behind the suffering. So here we have all these different layers. The problem is it's our ego construct due to the self-righteous spiritual doctrine and ideologies being imposed into the human psyche by this God entity are the ones, this is the block. This is the block in our psyche that, once you get past that, then you go into that state of understanding. You go into that state of multidimensional integration and really, really grasping the bigger picture of what's going on here and the bigger picture of your own existence in this world and the bigger picture of your own suffering and why you would have wanted that. Because everyone in your life is role-playing, and those who give you the greatest challenges in life, those that give you the greatest pain in life, they are your greatest teachers. And once we begin to embrace that, then what happens is the necessity for that suffering dissipates. Yeah? The suffering continues because we're not getting the message. The moment you get the message, it goes away because the soul is no longer seeking that experience. It's learned what it needed to learn.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about your path. How did you get from there to here?
I was having incredible experiences in my life, well beyond the ordinary, as the descriptive earlier on said, and interacting with ETs and having multi-dimensional experiences. And, also on Mother Earth herself, having going to other dimensions on this planet, which some of them are just so beautiful. Wow. Really difficult to come back from, where everyone's aware of everybody and there's no consumerism and everything is the pure expression of their own light beingness. It's whether it's in the mineral kingdom or the plant kingdom, and everybody's just so happy being what they need to be, and not taking from anyone else in any way, shape or form. It's a contribution of expression. It's a totally different state. And then it was many, many, many hours reconciling all of my experiences. And people saying, well, how come this is happening to you? It's not happening to me. Well, I'm like, well, I don't know. It's the same in return. Why is this happening to me and not to you? What's going on?
Right.
And there's lots of other people having incredible experiences, not just me. It's what I love about this journey with me coming out and speaking about it publicly is just how many people are getting in touch with me saying, oh, so I'm not crazy, because I've had similar experiences and I've come to similar conclusions, and we're seeing things in a similar way, and they're so grateful because all of a sudden, they're not crazy because everyone around them is trying to tell them that they are. And no, the reality is we're having multidimensional experiences, and there's a reason for us having that. And we've got to work out that reason within our own beingness. My reasons will be different to your reasons. And what I need to do was reconcile all that so I could come back in, because, we spend so much time wanting out of this place, which I did. And I got to a state where I was living very comfortably. Even though I was well below the poverty line, I was incredibly comfortable without having a mobile phone, without having a credit card, without having, any of that stuff. I was really somewhat off the grid, And then I realized I had this innate responsibility and obligation to my mother planet and to my humanity, because I've been a part of this from the start. So the remembrance of being part of the co-creative process in creating this galaxy, this solar system, this planet, and the human vessel from the beginning. That was really big. That was a big awakening and realization for me. And I'm deeply involved in this here, and I can't walk away from it. It's I can't do anything else. I'm in.
How did your family handle your awakening?
Yeah, I've got two boys, two sons. They're 20 and 21, and I've been sharing this from the start with them, being honest from the beginning. And my family, I tried to be honest with everybody. And then you quickly work out who has the capacity to understand the greater concepts of life and who doesn't. There was a lot of pain involved because I'm great with my boys. They're incredibly wise old ancient beings in those bodies. And my other members of family, it's a far more challenging situation.
Mm-hmm.
And friends, family and friends.
Right.
There are some that just love you for who you are and are still with you after many decades. And there are those who just can't handle it. It's just too much for them. They literally haven't the capacity to because knowledge is energy, information is energy, multidimensionality is multidimensional energy, right? So when you embody that, you're emanating an energy. It's like I emanate an energy that is beyond all the belief systems of the New Age religion. Yeah? So when I am in the presence of New Agers, they look at me as though I'm the devil. Yeah? Because I'm totally exposing. It's like we embody what's called logos, right? So, and that is, the symbol of that is the sword. And basically, the symbol of the sword is being used for the logos, which is the deepest vibrational blueprint of life in this universe. It's right to the heart of the creation of this universe, the heart of the creator. And it cuts through all the crap, and like sword cuts. And that's why the sword has been used as that symbol throughout the ages. And when you stand in the presence of these people and you are embodying such an authenticity, your authentic nature, your true authentic beingness, beyond all belief systems, beyond all dogma, beyond all doctrine, then that is such a raw and intense energy that it freaks people out if they are invested into worshipping something outside of themselves.
So how do traditional religions view you? Have you had a strong reaction from people?
Yeah, well, I had a very fierce debate in the Vatican. I was taken to the Vatican in a UFO craft. They have their own fleet.
Wow.
I had a very fierce debate with 4 senior officials, 2 cardinals and 2 officials. And, you've got the public pope, then you've got the black pope, and then you've got the secret order. There's 3 layers of control in the Vatican, and outwardly the secret order has another layer, like an outward layer, which is known as the Jesuits, but there's another hidden layer beneath the Jesuit order, and beneath the Black Pope, it controls the Black Pope, and what we were talking about, we're in this little lecture theatre in there. It was quite dark and awful. And we were talking, they had me there because they wanted to talk to me about what I'm saying, simply because I'm exposing their God. And and they're very concerned about me going public with what I'm saying. And in the end of it, I just said to them, because they wanted me to get on my knees before my maker. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Your God is not my maker. Let's just make this point clear. Your God is not my maker. I'm infinite. I've never been created, and they accused me of wanting to be a god. I said, I've been a god in this universe. I don't want to be a god again. I've traversed that territory. I've held that office of position in the grand scheme of things, because it's all, all this God thing and angels and all, they're all officers of position, right? They're all like characters, and different beings step into these roles at different eras and cycles in the universe. We all get a turn at it. Otherwise we don't know what it's like to be that expression of light, and the effects of that. So we all get a turn at it. And I said, I've been a god. I have no interest of being a god again. And they accused me of having an ego, which is off the charts. And I said, if you want to talk about egos, I said, your God is suffering from the greatest egoic insanity this universe has ever seen. Your God is claiming to be the creator of all that is and all that exists, when life is infinite and there is no one creator of anything. I mean, seriously. One being claiming to be the creator of everything. That is total egoic insanity. And once we get back into our multidimensional nature, and we get back into, reintegrating with the natural creator of this universe and the infinite nature of life, it becomes so freaking obvious.
Right. So the God that the Vatican is talking about, who is that God? Is that a title? Is that someone that walked the earth? And who is Jesus and their whole cosmology? From your perspective, what do you think they're talking about?
Yeah, well, all the sub-deities, it's a very touchy subject. It's a very touchy area. That really triggers people, because, for me, Logos and Christ and all that energy, it's very dear to my heart, but the problem is that to me, Jesus is not the true Christ. Jesus is the Christ the priestly caste have handed to the masses as the Christ. It's a personality, it's a character, it's an image, because the priestly caste throughout the ages have this very clever way of hijacking the true identity of every time the sun incarnates on the earth. Meaning the S-U-N, sun, right? The real sun. Yeah. Because when we understand who the sun is, once again, and the realization that the light that is being emitted from that sun is the unity of every single star in this galaxy shining as one, and that the galaxy itself is a fractal of the entire universe. So each star system is actually a galaxy compressed into the expression of a star system and inserted in this galaxy. Because we're talking about compression, we're talking about fractalization, right?
Right down to the atoms and the subatomic particles in the nucleus.
Yeah, your cells in your body are galaxies and your atoms are the star systems. Therefore, you are a fractal of the cosmos, of the grand cosmic arena. You're a fractal of the universe. So once we understand that, then we realize that there's a charade being played on the humanity. There's the natural Buddha, the original Buddha, and then there is the religious Buddha. There is, the natural original Horus, and then there's the religious Horus. So back then it was called the Shemshu Hor. That was the priestly caste. In the times of what we know as Christ, it was the Pharisees. And each time along, we have got this priestly caste that hijacks identities no matter what country it's in, no matter, because shamanism has been infiltrated by this energy. Every single culture has been infiltrated. So you've got the deity, and then you've got these sub-deities. So you've got to be careful when it comes to the languaging and intentions around all of that. So what we're dealing with is we've got two levels in today's world, okay? What we're dealing with today is two levels of this expressions of this God energy, right? So you've got the alien AI God expression of that, which is the scalpel that is being used to sever the human race from its planetary mother. And then the hand on the scalpel is this God entity, which is a naturally occurring being, but is not of this universe, but is claiming to be the creator of not only this universe, but all of existence. Yeah. That is an entity that the way it exists inside this grand cosmic arena is it's made up of pure mind energy, because mind is the ecosystem of ego. Yeah, ego does not reside in the heart. Our individual egos need to be brought back into alignment with our hearts. It needs to function under the auspice of our hearts, the guidance of our hearts, and our heart soul essence. But its actual ecosystem of existence is mind energy, and which universally or cosmically translating is consciousness. So that's why the pursuit of consciousness on this planet is the number one thing, because you have this God entity that is, its ego construct is pure consciousness. It expresses itself as God in the masculine, goddess in the feminine. You have the priests in the masculine, you have the priestesses in the feminine, and then goes to the patriarchy and the matriarchy. And what we're talking about is two alter egos of one another. One is not better than the other. They're both as bad as each other. When we realize we need to go beyond both of those systems, and we're ending the cycle of a patriarchal cycle outwardly expressing itself in this world. Whereas before there's been other cycles of patriarchy and matriarchy, and both have been disastrous because it's all about power and control. So there'll be a strong, because the natural woman energy in this earth is rising back into power. We've got a very strong push towards the matriarchy again. And so this energy is going to come in and apprehend that feminine, natural woman energy that's rising. And it's going to want to, take it towards that distorted feminine expression, which is the matriarchy. So watch out for that over the next decade. It's going to be really quite an interesting journey with that.
Yeah. So do you have a question, Sash?
No, I just had some little further explication about this idea that there's a lot of people that just have ordinary or ignorant consciousness. And what I find is that merely, even though we're playing to the intellect, once you provide the intellect with a model, just like you're doing now, George, it goes in. The person can't, you've told the intellect it can now contemplate itself. You've given them the key, and so people that hear you understand that they can contemplate the existence that they're living from outside of it, and then contemplate the part that's contemplating, and so forth, until they identify with source, with natural source. And so you provided a key, and if people hear you, they can't erase what you told them.
Yeah, because it has a vibrational field of energy. I'm not speaking to the mind, only the mind. Yeah, I'm addressing the mind. I'm addressing the mind's insecurities and shortcomings, but I'm speaking to people's beingness, into their heart and their souls and beyond, into their infinite nature, and that has a feeling. People say to me, sometimes we put on your audio book not to listen to what you're saying, just the energy that you express when you speak. There's something about the harmonics in your voice. It just feels good. So this, people have said that to me, and that has to do with me trying, not just trying. I'm genuinely expressing my soul in this world. This is about soul expression. And I love hanging out with people who are, there's so many of us that are done with the masks, yeah? And we just want to be truly who we are. And that's why, I was honoured to come onto your show, Janet, and
thank you.
And Sasha, because,
Sasha.
It's the genuine nature of your beingness. And Sean who's doing great work in the background there. When you come across people who are just authentic in their nature, I love that. That for me, it's like it's the tribe. It's home. It's an energy that just feels good. And we might not catch up for a while, but when we do, it's like the day we left off. And we're crossing paths with people that we physically haven't met before. But the moment you meet them, it's like, oh yeah. I know you, and then it just goes on from there as though you've always known each other all your life, and it's a beautiful feeling.
Right.
We were all on the ship together.
Are you familiar with Mary Rodwell, who's down in your part of the world?
Yeah, Mary rocks. She's. I love Mary. Her and I haven't seen each other for many years. I'm really looking forward to the day I can see her again, which hopefully will be soon. She's not too far north of where I am at the moment, so I do look forward to catching up with her. And yeah, she's incredible. What an incredible woman. A real gem and an expert in the field. I really have a lot of respect and I really honour what Mary does.
Yeah, and so there's a movement, and she's right in the forefront of it, of experiencers and contactees speaking out and doing their ambassadorial duty and saying what their reality is and how the natural state of all beings is loving oneness.
Yeah, it is. That's the natural state. Yeah. When it comes to dealing with ET races, because that's where the area that I'm involved in the exopolitical arena, we have to take into consideration that they're sharing with us their cultural philosophies and their spiritual philosophy as well. Even though they're ETs, they still have their own. Yeah? And we just need to take that into consideration with what all these races are sharing, because a lot of them are aligned with different empires behind the scenes, and we just need to be cautious, that's all.
So we were at the Alien Cosmic Expo, and they're talking about disclosure.
Yeah.
And so we brought it down to a human level, and we had, just like they did the disclosure hearings in Washington in 2013, we did a mini one in Canada. And Canada's dealing with a lot of major issues, like we hung up with an attorney, and he's working for Indigenous peoples and their rights, and he's suing the Canadian government, and he's asking for like $1 trillion, and he's saying things like, what price for a soul? So all these things were happening on this incredible level when we were up there doing our stuff. And I was wondering, on this kind of Earth human level, we have all these extraterrestrials that are out there. Some are supporting us, and some would, see us fail. Well, yeah, there's a question I have here. I'm just putting it out there. This was happening, and it's coming down to our election. We started with this, and we've got Sasha calls her Hillary and Trumpet. And it seems like half the planet's asleep and they're Fox News, and the other half is going, what in the world's going on? Do you have any comments on that? I just want to put that on the table. We have about, 6-7 minutes left.
Yeah, we've got ET races that, are in service to the light of God and truly believe in what it is they're doing. And they come here with really good intentions, kind-hearted intentions. They just don't. It's like a missionary that comes knocking on your door, right? They truly believe what they're doing is good. However, the background agenda is really to assimilate you into their way of life. So whenever it is we're dealing with ET races, the litmus test for me is the ones that truly acknowledge who we are and are here to support us in awakening here on the planet without them requiring us to be assimilated into a federation of free worlds, which is like the United Nations out there in the galaxy, right? Or the Galactic Federation of Light, which is the spiritual arm of the Federation of Free Worlds. So then you're dealing with cosmic missionaries, full on, who go knocking on planetary doors and do interdimensional channelings and just spread the doctrine, basically. So once again, we've got to have our cosmic street smarts about us. We seem to have fallen into this kind of like naivety. We've been diminished so much that we've forgotten our cosmic street smarts, and we've become very naive indeed. And anything that's coming along that's not of this world, it's like a child in a candy store. So beware the cosmic candy. the races that are in alignment with who and what we are, they know who Mother Earth is, they know who the sun is. And here's a really quick example. I was having a meeting with a gentleman in Sweden, and he's part of the Federation of Free Worlds, and he goes up into a craft 3 times a week. They scan his body, his consciousness leaves the body, and his body's recording everything. And he goes and has meetings, comes back into the body, gets put back down. He's an elderly gentleman. And he was talking about the big meetings in the Federation of Free Worlds and what their plans for Earth are and all that. And I looked at him and I said, because, you know, I'm a little bit knowledgeable about that sort of stuff. I said, so at your meeting in the Federation of Free Worlds, was Mother Earth there? And did she participate and have a voice in your meetings? And his kind of jaw dropped and his eyes popped. And I said, and was the sun there participating in your meeting? Were these beings present, conscious, and participating in your meeting? And he fell back in his chair because he was sitting forward. And he said, well, I'd like to think so. I said, well, if you were at the meetings which you say you were, and the whole point of subject was about what's going to happen to the Earth, which is inside the solar body of the sun, which affects the sun directly. If these beings are not present and participating in the meeting, then what are you guys doing? And what it showed him was that even though it's a big empire and it's ETs and they have amazing technology, it proved to him how shallow their levels of operation and scope of intelligence actually are, because they're not including the beings who are these realities in their deliberations. They're coming here with their cultural philosophies, with their spiritual doctrine, and they're being do-gooders. You know, they're doing what they truly believe is right, but they're falling short. And so what we need to do is go into these deeper levels of co-creation, deeper levels of relationship with the beings who are the realities we are inside of, and get back into that multidimensionality of our beingness and get real about how it is we're going to move forward with this reality and stop giving our power away to these other idealists outside and beyond this world.
Have you been to any meetings with... That was great. Have you been to any meetings? That was a bit of Big George coming through. That was Big George. So, yeah. Big George, have you been to meetings or any kind of gatherings where the planets are available?
Yeah, I have. And I've been to multidimensional meetings and in the center at in the Pacific Ocean with all the aquatic kingdoms as well. And everybody's ready. The problem is our minds are being sucked into this drama vortex that's being played out here on the surface on a very shallow level of reality. And it is a drama vortex, and it's sucking your awareness into it. The moment you get back into your relationship with Mother Earth and you pull your mind energy out of that drama vortex, like a vacuum cleaner's been placed on your forehead and it's just sucking your mind energy dry, out of you. You just got to be careful, because behind the scenes, all the multidimensional races and beings and the multidimensionality of Mother Earth, everybody knows what's going on. We're all ready. Everybody's in position. And that includes your greater beings. So connect to your greater beingness, because that's where the reality's at. And then you're going to know. Not because George says so, because you're going to be experiencing it from within yourself for yourself.
We have 1 minute. Would you like to repeat your website, your book?
I would love to. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I really, really, appreciate it. My website is IamInfinite.love, and so are you. You are infinite.love. My book is Our Universal Journey. It's about our journey through this universe. It goes into great detail. I recommend it, of course, biased opinion, but truly, I do recommend it. It's an awesome read. And look out for my workshops. And I'm looking to come over to the United States, but I need somebody who's an event coordinator to organise it over there so I can come over as a guest speaker. Oh. Otherwise, because of tax laws, it can't happen any other way.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that off stage here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. Once again, that's an awesome show. We really enjoyed speaking with you, and you blown my mind.
Namaste.
Namaste, love and blessings. Aloha.